medley of scripture and hymns. And maybe you say, Pastor, you're in a ball cap. I'm working today at the church. We have a project on the modular that we're trying to complete so that we can, Lord willing, be able to use that this weekend. So that's what I'm doing, and I'm caught a break here to come and just encourage you in the Word this morning. The Lord's given us a great passage to reflect on and some great truths for us. When you're in the passage of Psalm 75, we were just in Psalm 74 yesterday, and Psalm 74 was a disappointing chapter. It was one that shows a pleading of the people that God is not answering. God's not rising up to the occasion. There's destruction of the temple going on, and the wicked are prevailing. And Psalm 75 really puts all that into perspective, because it will focus on the fact that God is always on the throne. In Psalm 75, he talks about the wicked bragging and just boasting of their foolishness. In verse 4, that they should not lift up their horn or their power in defiance to God. But in verse 6, it says, "For promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. God is the judge. He putteth down one and setteth up another. For in the hand of the Lord there is a cup, and the wine is red. It's full of mixture, and he poureth out the same. But the dregs thereof, all the wicked of the earth, will wring them out." What he's talking about there is that the wicked may look like they're prevailing. The wicked may feel that there is no God, because look what I've done, and look at how I live, and nothing's happening bad to me. And that may be their boast for now. But this psalm is going to really lock in on the truth that God works in mysterious ways. And sometimes he allows the wicked to be raised up in pride, because he is appointing a day of judgment for them. We can think of a classic example of Pharaoh himself. And we know that Scripture tells us that Pharaoh was lifted up for such a time as this in a negative kind of way, that his wickedness, the rebellion and hardness of his heart, would become really the platform for God to display his great power and justice. So Psalm 75 talks about promotion comes from God. Well, who is promoted? How do you get to enjoy the blessing of God in your life? I think our Nehemiah passage is a great passage to help us see that. Nehemiah 10 and 11, you might come to it and say, wow, just a lot of names, Pastor. But the end of Nehemiah 9, Nehemiah has presented an ultimatum. He's called the people to respond. Will you pledge your life to serve God and to love him and follow him with all your heart? And so while you read through Nehemiah 10, you're reading through names of people and families who are ascribing their name. They are engraving their commitment that they will follow the Lord no matter what. In Nehemiah 11, you're going to see that some are going to be called to relocate in the city of Jerusalem. Now that there's a wall, there's no reason why these people should not relocate into the city, and to really allow this culture to burst forth in the city of David, which is really has a lot of spiritual overtones for the Jewish people. And so Nehemiah 10 focuses in on, are you going to commit to the way of God? So the question for you this morning is, are you going to commit to the way of God? Are you going to commit no matter what? Are you all in for God, regardless of what it appears is happening to the wicked, as to what blessings they may be enjoying, or how arrogant, or how they may be flaunting their life, and it doesn't seem like there's any repercussions for it? Are you going to still remain faithful to God? Are you going to remain faithful to God even when it doesn't appear there's any promotion, any respect or blessing that's coming straight from God? Whatever the case is, Nehemiah 10 is a wonderful passage that lists people's names who said, no matter what, I'm going to be faithful to God. And that's the question for you this morning. The hymn is one that was written as a celebration of our country's birth. And this hymn is one that stands out as a call to the past, the heritage of the past, and that heritage would continue today. And so with Nehemiah listing names of people and their families, I really think about the decision you make today will impact your family. The decision you make today will impact your children walking in your footsteps to follow God and love him with all their heart. If you only love God a little, then there's a great possibility that your children and grandchildren will love God less. And we don't want that to be the case. We want it to burn with a white-hot fervency, and that commitment would carry on for generations to come. And so here's the hymn this morning, God of our fathers. God of our fathers, whose almighty hand leads forth in beauty all the starry band of shining worlds and splendor through the skies, our grateful songs before thy throne arise. Thy love divine hath led us in the past. In this free land by thee our lot is cast. Be thou our ruler, guardian, guide, and stay. Thy word our law, thy paths our chosen way. From war's alarms, from deadly pestilence, be thy strong arm our ever sure defense. Thy true religion in our hearts increase. Thy bounteous goodness nourish us in peace. Refresh thy people on their toilsome way. Lead us from night to never-ending day. Fill all our lives with love and grace divine, and glory, laud, and praise be ever thine. What a wonderful statement. And to think that it's written at a time when our country was celebrating its birth, this is a hymn that really has a lot of place for us today. May we respect, love, follow, commit to God of our fathers. And such a commitment would truly revolutionize this country. And so let it begin with you. Let it begin with me. And may we be able to see the Lord work through us in amazing ways. Well, that's our reflections on him. I'm glad that you joined me today. And I look forward to joining you again next week. And while this weekend goes on, make sure that you're faithful in church, that you're encouraging others. Maybe you say, well, it doesn't really matter that I'm in church. Maybe I can catch it on live stream or something like that. Never forget that your presence in church is an encouragement, number one, to your pastor, that's for sure, but it's also an encouragement to other people. You don't know who you might be led to greet on Sunday who's going through a difficult time and that you could encourage. And you say, just by greeting them? Yeah, it's true. And so be faithful and allow the Lord to use you in a way to encourage others. Well, I'll give our church family an update here soon about our modular and what does Sunday look like. And hopefully I'll have some very exciting news for you in just a little bit. God bless and have a